Our top focus, terrorists have killed a migrant worker in Anantnag. The migrant worker, in fact, was from Bihar. Search operations were held in the area. Nobody has, in fact, been nabbed yet. Remember, this is yet another instance of targeted killing in Kashmir. But worryingly, it comes on the eve of first phase of elections.
Well, this happened in a village called Jablipora in Bijbihara, which is in Anantnag district this evening, when a migrant worker who had come from Bihar to earn his living, and he was targeted. It was a targeted attack, and he was critically injured, shifted to hospital where he was declared brought dead by the doctors. Police have cordoned the area to track down the attacker, but it appears the attacker may have managed to escape, taking advantage of the darkness, but more often than not, whenever such incidents have happened, police have been able to track down the attacker sooner than later. But this incident has come when the area is, this is Anantnag, there's a election campaigning is going on. Tomorrow, former Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti is filing her nomination papers from Anantnag. So is the National Conference candidate Mia Altaf as well. So lot of political activities in this area, campaigning going on, and in the midst of that campaigning, we see this horrible terror incident where an innocent man who has nothing to do with any politics, they only come here to earn their living. But they are being targeted because they are soft targets. It is not the first time when these innocent people have been, targeted. But for last 1 year, police have largely prevented such attacks. But this year this is the second such incident. One was in Srinagar 1 month back when 2 migrant workers, 2 months back, were killed in downtown Srinagar. And also on 8th of this month, there was an incident a firing incident in Shopian where a driver was also injured. But this is really a tragic incident where a migrant worker from Bihar, Raju Shah, has been killed.
Election updates now, and Congress has kept the suspense on over Amethi. They have still not declared a candidate. In fact, while addressing a press conference today, Rahul Gandhi stayed non-committal when he was asked that question and said that he's just a soldier of the party and that it's up to the Congress poll panel to pick a candidate. Meanwhile, BJP has continued to throw barbs at Congress and Rahul Gandhi over Amethi. Smriti Irani said today that Rahul Gandhi will come to Amethi only after April 26th. That is when Wayanad goes to elections.
कि लोग तो गुजरात छोड़कर पीएम बनने के लिए बनारस आते हैं, आप वायनाड चले गए, तो क्या अमेठी या रायबरेली से आप लड़ेंगे?
ये बीजेपी वाला क्वेश्चन है।
ये पत्रकार का सवाल।
पहले ही ओपनिंग बॉल बीजेपी क्वेश्चन। वेरी गुड, शाबाश। देखिए, अमेठी की बात कांग्रेस का डिसीजन है। जो भी मुझे ऑर्डर मिलेगा मैं वो करूंगा। सीईसी मीटिंग हमारी पार्टी में सीईसी मीटिंग्स में ये डिसीजन लिए जाते हैं।
हम जानते हैं कि 26 तारीख के बाद राहुल गांधी यहाँ आएंगे। जो जीतने के बाद गायब रहा वो हारने के बाद पुनः आएगा बांटने, छांटने और लोगों को लुभाने। लेकिन मेरा इतना आग्रह है कि जब उनका टोला आएगा बांटने, तब समाज एकजुट रहे। हमारा समाज, हमारी अमेठी एकजुट रही गत 5 वर्षों में, इसलिए हम समाज के हर वर्ग तक 1,14,000 घर गरीब का बंटवा सके।
Now, in the same joint press conference with Rahul Gandhi, Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav declared that BJP will be wiped out from Ghaziabad to Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh. He also said that every promise made by the party has turned out to be false and that the wind from the west would change the country in the first phase of elections. The BJP dismissed these claims and hit back, saying both leaders are too scared to contest themselves in these elections from UP.
गाजियाबाद में कार्यक्रम इसलिए किया है क्योंकि हम दोनों लोगों ने संकल्प लिया है, यहां से सफाया होगा गाजीपुर तक। जो 14 में आए थे वो 24 में चले जाएंगे और यूपी वाले स्वागत भी अच्छा करते हैं और इस बार तो ढोल नगाड़ा और सब कुछ की तैयारी है। इस बार विदाई भी बहुत शानदार होने जा रही है।
उन्होंने कहा है कि गाजियाबाद से गाजीपुर तक उत्तर प्रदेश में इंडी गठबंधन जीतेगा और एनडीए का सफाया हो जाएगा। पहला तो मैं पूछना चाहता हूं आपको उत्तर प्रदेश की सीमा गाजियाबाद से गाजीपुर तक ही क्यों नजर आई? गौतम बुद्ध नगर से भगवान गौतम बुद्ध की परिनिर्माण स्थली कुशीनगर तक क्यों नहीं नजर? दोनों में से कोई भी पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश में से कोई लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं कर पा रहा है। राहुल गांधी जी 2019 का चुनाव हारने के बाद उत्तर प्रदेश छोड़े थे।
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written personalized letters to all BJP and NDA candidates contesting in the first phase of elections. This letter is a part of a massive exercise by BJP to reach everyone in a constituency with the PM's message. BJP is also focusing on reaching each voter by having versions of this letter in regional languages.
That this is Modi's guarantee that we'll work 24/7 for 2047. I think that is going to be the big takeaway, and we have two letters that have been written by the Prime Minister, one to the Karyakarta in Mr. Annamalai, who is the BJP president of Tamil Nadu, the other one to the BJP media cell head, Anil Baluni. And in these letters, it's very personalized, as you said rightly, to Mr. Annamalai, the Prime Minister is saying that you left a prestigious job, but you continue to serve the people of Tamil Nadu, and Coimbatore in particular will gain immensely if you actually win. Then he goes on to talk about how, the state has not benefited because of 5 to 6 decades of the Congress party at the center, and what has been done by the central government has been instrumental. He goes on to say that BJP is looking at 2047, that it doesn't really stop at 2024, and that BJP will, form a stable government.
Now, on the last day of campaigning for first phase of polls, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held twin rallies in Northeast, reaching out to voters in Assam as well as in Tripura, linking the Ram Mandir success to his development model in Northeast. And Ratnadeep Chaudhary has that story.
As the Surya Tilak ceremony was underway in Ayodhya, the Prime Minister linked Ram Navami to development. 1100 kilometers away at a rally in Nalbari in Assam.
2014 में मोदी आपके बीच एक उम्मीद लेकर आया था। 2019 में मोदी जब आया तो एक विश्वास लेकर आया, और 2024 में आज जब मोदी असम की धरती पर आया है, मोदी गारंटी लेकर आया है।
The Nalbari rally had a huge turnout, perhaps giving BJP hope at a time the party wants to win at least 22 of the 25 seats in the Northeast along with its allies. This will mean winning 7 more seats than the NDA did in 2019. The Prime Minister's next stop 600 kilometers away in Tripura's capital Agartala. At this rally, Prime Minister attacked the Congress and the left.
यहाँ त्रिपुरा में इनका गठबंधन है, लेकिन केरला में ये लोग एक दूसरे के जानी दुश्मन है। कांग्रेस के युवराज यूपी में चुनाव हारने के बाद अपनी इज्जत बचाने के लिए केरला भाग गए थे। अब इन दिनों वो वहां केरला के मुख्यमंत्री ने कांग्रेस के युवराज के खिलाफ हल्ला बोल दिया है। इससे नाराज होकर कांग्रेस के युवराज ने कहा है कि केरला के सीएम भ्रष्टाचार में डूबे हुए हैं।
The political messaging of Prime Minister Narendra Modi through his twin rallies in the Northeast was perhaps much beyond the voters of this region. He also wanted to send a strong message to the voters in over 100 constituencies which would go to polls in the first phase. In Guwahati, Ratnadeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Now, this year has already seen a record number of cash seizures by the Election Commission. My colleague Himanshu Shekhar spoke to former Chief Election Commissioner Naveen Chawla on the growing influence of money and muscle power in Lok Sabha elections.
A very important set of data has been released by Election Commission, which seems unprecedented in the history of Lok Sabha elections, that more than 12,000 crore worth of seizures in the form of different forms of inducements have been made by EC and enforcement agencies. Now, we do know that Constitution talks about a level playing field, giving equal opportunity. You have managed Election Commission, you've seen and dealt with these issues personally. How serious and how big is this number, 12,000 crore?
Well, it seems a bigger number than I have ever come across. But it's also conditional on not just bullion, rupees and so on, but there have been very large drug seizures this time. You know, we have almost 2,000, I think this time 2,100 observers in the field. And people are vigilant. There's another aspect that the opponent is often the one who complains against the candidate and points the way to the seizures. So while I don't I can't easily put a number, I can say that 2,100 observers drawn in from central government joint secretaries that we've had in election after election, and this time we have state elections too, may not be surprising.
Now the representation of People's Act is very clear that there should be a level playing field. But when you see such kind of rich people contesting in the second phase, for instance, data released shows that the candidate who is the richest candidate, the Congress candidate in Mandya, has declared assets worth 622 crores. The second richest person is also close to 593 crore. The third is close to 279 crore. So how does that affect a level playing field in elections?
You know, it does. But may I go back to my own experiences, because I was the chief who did the 2009 election. Now, I had given very clear instructions that to observe a level playing field, every single observer and every single returning officer and the bandobast in the whole country must listen to the opposition of that state.
Welcome back. Time for an NDTV exclusive. Emma Riley, a former employee of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, has made some startling allegations of China subverting multilateral organizations and corruption ahead of UK's Foreign Affairs Committee inquiry. Speaking to NDTV's Nikunj Garg, she has claimed a nexus between high-ranking officials and the Chinese government, and that the World Health Organization altered its report on COVID origins.
Ms. Riley, you are making some very, very stunning claims. Welcome to NDTV. On what basis are you making all these stunning claims?
Thank you for having me. On the basis of written evidence, to be frank, I was employed within the UN for 10 years. And from 2013, I started to blow the whistle on the influence of the Chinese Communist Party on the UN Secretariat. I was employed in the UN Human Rights Office, where you would expect that human rights would be the primary goal, but in reality, that office was secretly transmitting the names of people who were about to speak out against China to the Chinese government.
Well, yes, I mean, I'm quite stunned. I read that entire copy in today's Times of India. My dear friend Naomi Canton has filed that copy, and I'm glad that I'm following that up with an interview. But I'm stunned. You are trying to say that the people who were protesting the Chinese policies, the Chinese activists who were protesting the Chinese policies, the United Nations was leaking information on them to the Chinese government.
Exactly, and this started in 2006. And according to the UN's court position in my own court cases, it continues to this day. Privately, the UN admits this openly in court. Those court judgments are public. You can read the latest court judgment in which the judge says that, yes, at all times I have told the truth. But the UN has an absolute lèse-majesté law that says you can never criticize any policy of the UN. So even though this policy is equivalent, it constitutes criminal complicity in torture, it constitutes criminal complicity in arbitrary detention. Even despite that I was telling the truth, the UN says I still had no right to speak up because this is a policy of the Secretary General himself.
Well, that's all right, but I mean, this is unheard of stuff. You're trying to say that the UN is compromised to an extent that it continues to leak information of the very people that it is supposed to protect. I mean, these are individuals, of course, who are standing up against a government policy. Now, there are various pressure groups, various interest groups, various lobbyists, lobbying groups, etc., who can at various points in time protest against the government policy. They not necessarily may be a dissident group, they may not necessarily be a separatist group, but to leak information on them and then to leave them at the mercy of a totalitarian regime like China is quite astounding.
Yes, and some of them gave evidence in my court case as to what happened to their families after their names were handed over. People were arrested, they were detained, they were placed in concentration camps in Xinjiang. Some people's family members died in detention because they spoke out. And the UN should be denouncing that. They should not be facilitating it.
Staying with international news, in Dubai, the Middle East financial center was paralyzed by heavy rains and storms that caused widespread flooding around the desert country. In fact, storms lashed the UAE, which has impacted hundreds of flights. Now, for our viewers, let's just put up an idea of what was the impact on flights to Dubai from Dubai. So those are the figures on your screen there. You can see that at least 79 flights to Dubai were cancelled. 178 flights to Dubai were delayed. In fact, not just that, at least 90 flights from Dubai were cancelled. Around 152 flights from Dubai were also delayed. In addition to this, if we just look at the India flights, 15 flights from India to Dubai were cancelled and 13 flights from Dubai to India were also cancelled. So this is just an idea. Of course, the numbers might have also gone up over the past couple of hours, but this is just to give an idea that this is the extent of chaos that we saw at the Dubai airports.
As the effects of climate change cause havoc across the globe, the desert city of Dubai, a global transit hub, has come to a standstill. Heavy rains and thunderstorms plunged the city into chaos. Flooded roads, stranded commuters, disrupted flights, and even water leaking from mall ceilings. The Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest air hub, where hundreds of thousands of international passengers pass through every day, was forced to cancel or divert hundreds of flights, disrupting air travel and leaving many passengers stranded across the world. As of noon, 79 flights from Dubai were cancelled, while 178 flights were delayed, with the numbers only growing. Videos on social media show planes taxiing on flooded runways and cars half submerged at the airport's parking lot. Such has been the disruption that Dubai airport authorities have asked travellers to stay away. We advise you not to come to the airport unless absolutely necessary, Dubai authorities have said. Indian singer Rahul Vaidya was one of the many passengers who were stranded in the city, wading through knee-deep water. Key buildings throughout the city, from the Dubai Mall and Mall of the Emirates to the various Dubai metro stations, were also left submerged in water.
ये देखो guys, एक दिन की हालत हो गई है, because I don't think that Dubai is used to. So all the tourists, there are no taxis, nothing.
Various residential areas are also grappling with severe flooding, leaving homes with collapsed roofs and roads completely washed away. Dubai is not the only city to be affected by this unexpected weather. UAE and its neighbors, Bahrain, Oman, among others, have also witnessed heavy rains, with the death toll in Oman rising to 18, with many remaining missing. Bureau Report, NDTV.